Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here Saturday morning. Saturday Share the Love Club, and we're sharing the love for a vintage classic Jurassic Raptor from around Vince Carter's era, Kevin Willis. It's Kevin Willis's birthday today, and I wanted to put him on shine as a vintage alumni of the Toronto Raptors. And yeah, today Kevin is turning, I believe he is turning 63. 63 today. You know, Kevin Willis is the player in the NBA's history that has played the most minutes in an NBA game, NBA career, and it is not in the Hall of Fame. He has the most time spent on NBA courts that is not a Hall of Famer. Everybody else that has played longer than him has gotten into the Hall of Fame. It's weird. In some ways, you can make a case for Kevin Willis to be Hall of Fame. I don't know, maybe not, but he isn't in the Hall of Fame. But he played 21 seasons in the NBA. 21 seasons. It's crazy. When he played for the Raptors, I thought it was near the end of his career because he started playing in 1984 and he came to the Raptors in like the 2000. And no, he kept going after that. In fact, he didn't get his championship until he got to the Spurs and was playing with Tim Duncan. Yeah, he won a championship in 2003 on the Spurs. That year that they won their second one, he was on that squad with them, and that's when he got his ring. So in some ways, Kevin Willis, even though he's not in the Hall of Fame like Karl Malone and Charles Barkley and John Stockton and Dominique Wilkins, his teammate, Kevin Willis has achieved something that Vince Carter never achieved. He got a championship. He got a championship Patrick Ewing never got. He got a championship that Charles and Carl and John and Dominique never got to. And that's pretty cool. You know, that's a pretty cool thing about that's a pretty cool thing about Kevin Willis. That Kevin Willis is a champion. Kevin Willis is a very long time NBA player. Of course, we love Kevin Willis when he played for us. He was part of the old man, big men with Charles Oakley, and they were really holding it down in the lane. Them with Antonio Davis, Kevin Willis, Charles Oakley, that period of time around Vince's time. Yeah, we had bigs, and they were veteran bigs, and they were learned bigs. And honestly, those guys were teaching Vince and Tracy how to be NBA pros at that time. Kevin Willis was a pro like that. Kevin Willis went to university to study fashion and textiles. He became a real fashion-sensed person. You know, one of the things in his career that he lamented about was being a 7-foot guy. It was such a weird body, a big body, I should say, not weird. It was hard for him to find suits that properly fit him. So he actually decided to go into business for himself. And him and an old teammate from college named Walker built their own stores called Willis and Walker. And yeah, they're specialized in custom wear for big and tall men. And it was founded in 1988. I'm sure it's still going to this day. Willis and Walker, Ralph Walker, his teammate. You know, I didn't know this, but you know, Willis playing in Atlanta for the Hawks for most of his early career, he was working for Ted Turner because the Hawks were owned by Ted Turner. And you know, not only that was he playing for Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta for Ted Turner. Well, Ted Turner owned WCW at a certain point, and he owned the wrestling on Turner on TBS and Nitro and all that stuff, WCW. Well, Kevin Willis was rubbing shoulders with wrestlers in his Atlanta career because of this proximity to Atlanta, because that was where all the Turner wrestlers worked and lived for the most part. And he struck up a friendship with Lex Luger, the former wrestler Lex Luger. And Lex Luger, just like Kevin Willis, is a big guy with a big shaped body. And he had a hard time finding suits. So Lex Luger was using Willis and Walker as his suit provider from when he was on Nitro, guys. You guys may remember Lex Luger wearing a white collar thing that was a suit that looked really classy, like really, really classy. It's called a Nehru. and he was wearing that on Nitro one night. He got that from Kevin Willis. He got that outfit from Kevin Willis. So if you can remember Lex Luger's suits when he would come out on WCW Nitro over those years, is more often than not Kevin Willis had something to do with it in his company. So yeah, they were clothing Lex Luger at that time. That's pretty cool. These are some fun facts about Kevin Willis I didn't know. That he was clothing wrestlers on Monday Nitro in the 90s through his company, his big and tall suit company. It's pretty cool, man. Yeah, Kevin Willis is a underrated NBA star who doesn't get the shine as much as he should. As much as Tom Chambers should be in the Hall of Fame, maybe Kevin Willis should be too. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he is just borderline not. Either way, the man had a long, successful career. He's had a happy life, and good things have come to him. I appreciated Kevin Willis coming through last year for our alumni year, 30th anniversary for the Raptors, and him coming and showing up and saying, yeah, I'm proud of my Raptors linkages, and I am here to represent my era in the Raptors. He did play for us for 3 years, so it's not like he was a flash in the pan, just came by for a hot cup of coffee and took off. No, the man was here for 3 years. So in some ways, he put in like 1,000 points for us. So it's like, this man, I think it was 1,500 actually, just about 1,500 that he filled it up for the Raptors in his career. So it's like this guy, in some ways it's like it's 1,400. He scored about 1,400 points for us. In some ways it's like, look, this guy was a bona fide Raptor. In fact, he was involved in the playoffs with us early on in our franchise career. He was one of those guys that were getting us in the playoffs in the early stages for the first time, stuff like that. So happy birthday, Kevin Willis. You're a clothes genius. You are an NBA champion. You are a longevity amazement with how long he played in the NBA. Like, you played very long. When you were in Dallas, that was a long time after you had started. That was over 20 years after. So yeah, happy birthday to former Raptor Kevin Willis. Yeah, he made suits for Lex Luger that Lex Luger wore on Nitro. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that until I did some research on Kevin Willis recently. That's pretty cool. All right, let me check in on the chat with you guys, and we'll do all the regular segments. Maybe not a long stream today. It is really kind of the slow part of the year for our channel. And yeah, that's just how it is. I mean, I get less views, less new subscriptions, less everything, because it's a dormant time in the year for Raptors stuff. These guys are in pre-training camp. Some of them are showing up to Toronto. Jamal Shed signaling that he's heading to Toronto in the next day or so. A couple of guys are already here. AJ Lawson's been here. Elijah Martin has shown back up in town. There's people starting to collect themselves here in the GTA to get ready for prep for the season. Maybe some of those rookie guys like Elijah and Chucky and Colin Murray Boyles need to come up here to get a little bit more oriented and set up as rookies coming to Toronto Raptors. So yeah, we'll cover everything. We got the classic card. We got the Instagram stories. We got Raptors Reddit reactions, the straight goods on Canadian goods, and we'll check in on our WNBA Fantasy League and see what's going on there. Trevor J's first. In life, you control how far you can go. I don't let anyone else decide how far you can go. You are the captain of your journey. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. The captain of your journey. Yeah, double. One hit wonder of the 80s. Yeah, it's true. Like what they say is, if you could do it, you think you can do it, you can do it. If you don't think you can do it, you can't do it. So it's really have the power and belief in yourself, and don't let anybody dictate whether you can do it or not. You got to decide whether you can do it or not. And if they tell you can't do it, well, be like Fred VanVleet and say, yeah, I can. And I'm going to go do it. That's what you do right there. That's right. Yeah, they don't control how far you go. You do. And it's your own personal belief that gets you as far as you can. Commissioner Trevor J., I salute you. Thank you so much, sir, for all you do for the channel. Thank you for your words of wisdom. That's right. Fiercey is here also. Good morning, fam, and happy Saturday. Hard for me to fully engage in the daily streams because of work, but I sneak in and out. W's fam. There you go, Fiercey. I love it. Well, don't get in trouble and, do what you can. And we understand. It's all good. Catch me when you can and, put it on time and a half speed or faster if you have to watch later. And yeah, I totally understand. I mean, it is what it is. Times change and you have different phases in work and different things happening. And sometimes it's harder to get that time at that time to just do your morning Raptors radio show. That's right, Fiercey's boss. This is a Raptors radio show she's listening to. And she's working while she's listening to it. So there's no big deal here. Come on, nothing to see here. That's right. That's right. Hopefully somebody's standing by. They can hear what I just said. I don't know. Fiercey saying, happy birthday, Kevin Willis. Yeah, Lex, I remember some of the names you mentioned for wrestling. I know many of the fam are fans, but silly question. Is wrestling still rigged, faked, or has it evolved to real beefs? This is such a great question. And listen, honestly, I don't mind doing this. I mean, we're in the slow period. Once again, we talk a little bit more kind of general topics and stuff like that, like this. I don't mind. Being a wrestling historian, I am a wrestling historian. I've studied professional wrestling from the era of Greek wrestling that people fought in naked in the Olympics in the beginning. And I know all the different periods of time when wrestling was real and fake. And well, wrestling is not real still. It is not. It became fake when TV evolved. It's really what it is, Fiercey. The original wrestling that we knew at the beginning of the 1900s was a carnival wrestling. And it was basically a traveling show that went around with the fair or some sort of other thing. Maybe it was a circus. And they had a strongman, a wrestler. And he was a hooker, was what they called him, because he could hook people into crippling moves that could actually really seriously hurt them to win. And they travel from town to town and they tell the audience, if anybody could beat our champion, you would win this money. And that was what wrestling was at that time. It was like a traveling carnival show. And it was real because they had to have a guy who was legitimately able to hurt people on like that. So they wouldn't have to pay anybody, right? So the person was a legitimate fighter who was a submission hold fighter, usually, who knew how to either knock somebody out with a chokehold or they just knew how to make them say uncle from bending their arms or legs. And well, then television came around, black and white television. Gorgeous George was one of the first stars of television in the very early days of television. Wrestling was one of the first things on TV. It was one of the most popular things right away on television. What was happening, though, was the wrestling was on TV and the wrestlers were kind of fighting still for real, but they'd get hurt and then they miss TV. And the promoters were like, oh, no, we can't have these guys get hurt and miss time. This is no good. They're our cash cow. We can't have this guy out. He's hurt for real now and he can't do anything. Well, so that's when they decided to make it fake, was because they didn't want wrestlers to miss TV shows because they were making money and attendance and watching and popularity from these wrestlers not getting hurt. So it evolved into being like, yeah, there's aspects of this where we could go into real fighting, and that does still happen to a degree. But for the most part, the outcome is predetermined. And in some ways, that was because of television. Television made wrestling fake. And it is still to this day is part of the reason why it's fake. And well, it's really basically they don't want people to get hurt. They want to avoid injuries. And when you're really all out fighting, people are going to get hurt way more often. If you fake it and then they're not getting hurt, they're still getting hurt though. And they're still having to miss time. So when it becomes real sometimes still, MJ, is when two wrestlers actually have a real beef in real life. Sometimes wrestlers will be doing their match and somebody will hurt someone by accident. Like they'll hit somebody for real. Like they call it potatoing. He potatoed me, meaning he really hit me with a closed fist and he actually really hit me where I left a mark or I got a black eye or something like that. That stuff happens all the time in wrestling. And well, usually the wrestler is very kind and says, oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hit you in the face. I shouldn't hit you in the face like that. I'm so sorry. But if the wrestler is like not really caring about whether they hurt someone or not, Well, then receipts are to be paid. And that means the other wrestler who got hurt can come back and get them back and hurt them back. And then sometimes that can escalate into a real shoot fight where two wrestlers are actually seriously trying to hurt each other in a match. You can tell when it goes shoot because it's like that looks like that hurt, and it did. There's a very famous match with Perry Saturn where he's wrestling a jobber, and the jobber would not work with him, would not do what he wanted to do. So he went rogue and he beat the shit out of the guy in the ring right in front of everybody in the match. And yeah, that stuff happens. So, and sometimes the wrestling promoters will utilize these grudges that are real and put them out on the match and let them work that out. Like if there's a serious, real beef behind the scenes and backstage between two wrestlers, they'll make it a match and they'll actually build off of that genuine dislike and friction. And they'll even tell them when you guys get out there, yeah, you can go real for a little while and kind of lick each other, but the outcome has to be this, and this person's going to win, and this is going to be 1, 2, 3. It's stuff like that. So yeah, the line where wrestling is fake and real is very blurred. And the outcomes are planned. The outcomes are usually very much planned and fixed. But some of the actions in the middle of the match can be very real and very much hurt. So that's kind of it right there. I mean, to this day, it's still like that. Some people say if you hurt somebody on purpose, it's unprofessional in wrestling at this point. If you hurt somebody at all, you shouldn't be trying to hurt your opponent. You should be protecting them. But alas, mistakes are made and accidents happen, and people do get hurt. People do get hurt. So yeah, there you go, man. There you go. That's the basic of it there. The synopsis, that's the cliff notes of wrestling being fake or not. Those injuries they get are not fake. And some of the beefs they have are not fake either. Let's just put it that way. Some of the beefs between wrestlers is not fake. And some of the stuff that happens in the matches, the injuries that happen to them is not fake. And that's why they make the argument and say, look, you can say it's fake, but listen, it's not. It's not. Sure, the outcome is fake. The outcome is decided. But sometimes the outcome gets screwed up. Like the ref counts so slow, or the ref counts too fast, or somebody doesn't kick out, or somebody doesn't run to the ring to break it up fast enough. And there's sometimes mess ups where the outcome of the match will go down different than what they had intended because people screwed up in the middle of the match at the end. This stuff is so interesting to me, man. It's so interesting. Like that's why I became like I really got into this. I mean, I've written university papers on wrestling and whether it's fake or not, and not whether it's fake, but the history of it and how it became fake. So yeah, there's a lot of studying on this subject that I've done. A lot of studying. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what else she's saying. Let's see. Fiercely saying, I shared the SGA interview with Jimmy Fallon. It was so nice to watch. His sneakers are nice. Yeah, that interview is interesting, but I'm telling you, the interview I want to watch is the one with Nardwar. Nardwar SGA interview is going to be off the chain because listen, Nardwar does his research. He's going to come in and do some crazy stuff talking about SGA's life. He's going to know all about his life. He's going to know about his dad. He's going to know about his cousin. He's going to know about Team Canada. He's going to probably pull up and say something crazy about RJ's favorite thing to eat while he's on Team Canada. Like Nardwar will do that. He's like, and SGA, do you remember what RJ Barrett said to you when he went to Paris and he went with you? What did he say to you? Oh my God, Nardwar, how do you know that? How do you know what RJ told me in Paris? It's going to be shit like that. It's going to be so crazy. Like, I can't wait for that interview. I hate Jimmy Fallon. Fuck Jimmy Fallon. Fuck Jimmy Fallon. But Nardwar, oh my gosh. And then another interview that came out with SGA involved this week is Jake's Takes. Yeah, this kind of fell through the cracks, and I didn't post it anywhere, but Jake's Takes got SGA's dad on his show this week. So he has an interview with SGA's dad that just came out. I haven't watched it yet, but I want to. I'm sure it's off the chain. Jake has been awesome. Jake went to Summer League this summer, and he did a live interview and showed himself on camera this summer with Marjan Beauchamp. And that was pretty cool. But yeah, Jake has a new one out in the last couple of days with SGA's dad. And I'm being surprised to hear what Jake's Take has to ask or SGA's father. That'd be cool. But yeah, Jimmy Fallon, that's a cool interview too. But in some ways, I don't like Jimmy Fallon personally because of some things I know about him as a person. He's not a good person. Let's just put it that way. He's not a good person. And that's why, in some ways, I'm kind of like, but I'm glad you posted that. I'm glad you posted that. Yeah, let's see. Where is that you posted, Fierce? There was something else you posted, and I was like, holy crap, that's really cool. There was something else that I think Fiercey posted. I'm not sure if it was that. All right, let's see what else we got in the chat. Let's see. Okay, she said it's so nice to watch. His sneakers are so nice. Yeah, SGA's got some pretty cool sneakers. Apparently, they're saying that Nickel camped out 12 hours to buy SGA's new sneakers. Like, why didn't you just get them from your cousin, bro? I guess he's just like one of us, Nickel Alexander Walker. He's gonna go camp out outside the store to get his cousin's shoes. That doesn't seem right. Maybe that story was just showing that there's a high demand for the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander shoes, and that even Nickel Alexander Walker has to camp out and wait for his pair. That's crazy to me. That don't make no sense. Why was he having to be outside to wait for his cousin's shoes? Why can't his cousin just gift him shoes to him? Like, here, Nickel, I love you. You're the GOAT. Here's my shoes. No, you got to wait outside, Nickel, and wait out inside and with the fans out in a tent overnight to get the butter shoes. Sorry. No, I'm not giving you butter shoes. No free handouts. You just got to go and wait in line just like everybody else. That's crazy to me. Nickel, why'd you have to do that? Seriously, SGA, why are you doing that to your cousin? Why are you making him stand outside all day and all night to get shoes? That don't make no sense to me. It really doesn't. Fiercely saying, too bad. I liked watching those fights until I realized they were all for show. I like competition when it's authentic, but sports like boxing or MMA, when you see blood, I don't enjoy. Well, that's the thing. If it's going to be a real fight, there's likely going to be blood at some point. There's likely going to be blood at some point. You know, the wrestlers can get in trouble for blood. Yeah, there's a lot of there's TV executives and people, censors, and they say, oh, you can't have blood on TV. You guys are on primetime and little kids watch. And there was a period where blood was okay on TV for a little bit, but then they overused it. And there's been a backlash. And that's why they had a PG era after the ruthless aggression era and the attitude era, because there was way too much violence and blood on wrestling in the late 90s, early 2000s. So they had to revert back to a very childish kind of cartoon kind of wrestling, like the early 90s and the new era, and the 80s too. And actually, wrestlers would get fired, Fiercey, if they caused blood by accident. Like if they hit a guy and there's blood all of a sudden and they didn't mean to do that, they could get fired for that. Let alone some of the wrestlers would bleed on purpose. They'd blade and cut themselves. Chris Jericho got in trouble for wrestling a match once where he bladed. He defied Vince McMahon, and he got in big trouble for bleeding in a match because he wasn't supposed to. They had been told him. He said, "No, you can't bleed in this match, Chris. You're not allowed to. We don't want you to do it." And they went ahead and did it anyway. And they got the repercussions because they wanted to. The wrestlers kind of went off script and said, yeah, fuck you, Vince. We're going to do it anyway. Well, Vince punished them afterwards. So there's a lot of weird stuff about in wrestling behind the scenes, man. A lot of weird stuff. Kaz is here. Good morning, Lex, MJ, and Rapid Freak crew. Good morning to you, sir. Our leader in our finals right now for our WNBA Fantasy League. Yeah, he's got a huge lead, 728.7 over 581.7. And I don't know what to do. I mean, to make up a 140-point lead, it's crazy. I mean, I got till Thursday, but man, this guy just keeps going every day. Every day he's getting like 100 points on his matchup. And it's just like, what do I do? What do I do? What can I do? What can I do? I don't know if I can do anything, honestly, because Kaz is just sprinting to a championship right now. That's right. Yeah. And the other matchups, Meredith is beating Kareem right now for third place trophy, 420 to 391. And Cool Cat is winning her matchup. Fiercey's winning her matchup. And James is winning his matchup in the last week of our WNBA Fantasy League. And they'll be going into the playoffs very soon. WNBA Fantasy. Very, very cool. Our referees for the two WNBA games tonight, Phoenix Mercury at Connecticut Sun. Fatu Sissoko Stevens will be the crew chief tonight, with Ashley Gloss and Charles Watson. And Minnesota Lynx at Golden State Valkyries, Roy Gillian is going to be the crew chief with Tim Green and Gina Cross. There's our WNBA check-in. Yeah. It's crazy, man. This has been a very competitive year for our WNBA fantasy league. And I appreciate it. I appreciate MK and Fiercey and Cool Cat and Kareem and of course Kaz and Mike even for competitiveness and trying to play your team and making it fun. Mike here and there, he wasn't always keeping up with his team, but yeah, the rest of y'all that kept up with your team really well this year, I really appreciate that. It's made the league very, very fun and competitive for sure this year. Yeah, and Kaz can't wait for the fantasy NBA. We'll do the draft for that sometime in October. Yeah, it'll be in October when we do the draft for that. Although I could maybe do it early just to save us some trouble because these streams are going to be really tough to figure out the subjects for. Let's see. Fiercely saying, great words of wisdom, Trevor. And salute to Kaz, a.k.a. the WNBA Fantasy Destroyer. Yeah, he's just really good. Fiercely saying, thanks for the explanation, Lex. Never heard of the term potatoing. Yeah, potatoing. Yeah, it's when, these guys have to hit, I can teach you guys so much about wrestling. When they hit people, they don't have a closed fist. They open their hand like this. So when they're hitting at someone, it looks like a fist from the outside, but they don't have their hand all the way full. And they hit and they kind of open their hand and it like paps. And it's like they're not really hitting people, but you can really hit someone, and that is potatoing. Like if you hit them with a closed fist for real and you actually hit them and it's some force and like they either breaks the skin or bruises them, that's a potato. That's a potato. You potatoed me. That's right. Cass saying, laugh out loud. That was a pretty good Nardwar impression, wasn't it? Wasn't it? I can do Nardwar. Yeah, I watch him enough that I can do Nardwar. Nardwar. Yeah. Let me see. Oh, an SGA. Do. I can't do it for too long, man. He's crazy. Oh my gosh, I couldn't breathe, man. Why wasn't I not breathing? I bet you Nardwar, when he does that, he learned he has to breathe still. Like seriously, I can't stand straight still like Nardwar does without breathing, man. You're gonna kill yourself. Because you can see him going when he does his little thing at the end. I like when Nardwar has people that I'm really excited to see him interview, like SGA. I don't see him interview very many athletes. He doesn't interview very many athletes. I think the reason why he's interviewing SGA is because he's Canadian and Nardwar is Canadian. And I think also part of it is this. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was probably a huge fan of Nardwar. Like sometimes you can tell when people are getting interviewed by Nardwar, whether they know Nardwar or not. And from the clips that I saw, the little brief clips of their interaction, SGA knows Nardwar. So it'll be very interesting to see how they interact and just how much SGA knows about Nardwar and Nardwar knows about SGA. So yeah, it'll be cool, man. I hope it's a good length of an interview. Sometimes his interviews are under 10 minutes or under 5 minutes even. And it's much better when they're like 20 to 30 minutes with that same person. And I'm also wondering if Nardwar is going to give SGA weird gifts. Like, I wonder what he would give him, Like maybe he'll give him some cool old basketball cards or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, here, SGA, I got you these Topps cards from 1982. And this is the player for the Indiana Pacers. You may remember Haywood Workman or something like this. I don't know what the fuck he's going to give SGA. Like seriously, what's he going to give SGA? He's like, "Hi, SGA, I got you this old gospel album from the Mavis sisters, and it's out in 1976." And this, what is he gonna do, man? I want to know. I want to know what Nardwar does with SGA. I do. I want this to drop. It's probably gonna drop today. I'll bet you it might drop very soon. It's gonna drop it any minute. It's gonna be so good, man. I'm telling you. And SGA is so cool, man. Like he's gonna be in there, and be like, "Oh my gosh, Nardwar, how did you know that about me? How did you know that about me? Oh my gosh, how did you know this?" He's gonna be like that. Watch. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good, man. I'm telling you, man. Yeah, Kaz is saying, I read Nickel said he wanted to experience the nostalgia of waiting in line like when he was in his youth. That's why he did that? Is he wanted to feel those feelings again. He wanted to camp out like his Black Friday, getting a PlayStation 2 from like 2000 or something like that. That's crazy, man. That's funny. So he did it for nostalgia. He did it to feel young again. He did it to feel normal and regular, not like an NBA player. I wonder if he got mobbed by people. Maybe they didn't even recognize him. Some people may be like, there's just a really tall guy over there. I don't know. Is he in Atlanta already? Was that in Atlanta? They may not know him in Atlanta yet because he just showed up down there. And they'd be like, there's just this real tall guy down there at the front of the line. Yeah, I don't know who that guy is. Man, he looks like he might be in the NBA. Is that guy in the NBA? I don't know. Why would he be in this line if he's in the NBA, man? Yeah, you're right. He would be in this line if he's in the NBA. Like, why would he be in this line if he's an NBA player? Like, yeah, I know. Exactly. You sound stupid. So, of course, that's not an NBA player down there at the front of the line trying to get SGA shoes. Maybe that is what happened. Maybe that conversation was going on down the line from Nickel Alexander-Walker waiting for his cousin's shoes. That's right. That's awesome, man. Cass, I'm going to give you a dunk for information. I appreciate you filling in the blanks on why the hell was Nickel waiting in line, because that totally makes sense. And it kind of says something to how grounded and down to earth he is. 61 dunks for Trucker Cass at this point. Fiercely saying on Discord, the other post is Kawhi's uncle allegedly asking for ownership stake in the Toronto Maple Leafs. It seems Uncle Dennis was greedy, if it's a true story. Yeah. That's the post that I wanted to talk about that you posted, is that that allegation. The new allegation is that Uncle Dennis was angling to get Kawhi to stay on the Raptors for ownership stake in the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, he said this was the reasoning. He said, give me some ownership in the Leafs. It's separate from the Raptors. And then, there won't be any collusion. And then they're like, I hate to tell you this, Uncle Dennis, but the Leafs are owned by the same people that own the Raptors. So this won't work. That's still collusion. It's the same company. Nah, we can do this. It's a different team. We could do this. No, Dennis, we can't do this. The Leafs and the Raptors are MLSE. They're the same. We cannot give you ownership stake in the Leafs under the table and act like it's something like this. Oh, come on. You could do this, man. The Leafs look good, man. They're so popular. I want to make money off of them. Come on, man. No, Uncle Dennis. No. I don't know. How did that go down? Didn't go down well. They laughed at him. Listen, Uncle Dennis. And I'm going to say this, and this is pure. In some ways, this is satire and poking fun. And this is not meant. I mean, this is harsh reality, too. In some ways, it's sad. Listen, if they ain't going to let Isaiah Thomas have ownership in the Toronto Raptors early on in our franchise history, why the hell would they let you own a piece of the storied, amazing, kiss their ass Maple Leafs and their bullshit? No, man, they don't want you to have nothing to do with them if they're not letting any NBA players have pictures up down in the bottom of the Scotiabank Arena. No, think about this, Uncle Dennis. That may be the biggest thing. It was like, no, Kawhi can go because we don't want Uncle Dennis to be an owner of the Leafs. No, they wouldn't. They didn't even want John Batove to be an owner of the Leafs. They didn't want Isaiah Thomas to be an owner of the Leafs, owner of the Raptors. So it's like, yeah, it's crazy. It's a messed up situation, but that's what Uncle Dennis is, a finagler. Uncle Dennis is trying to get that, is what he's doing. He's trying to get that. He's going to figure it out. I'm trying to get that. That's what he's doing. He's using his nephew. He uses his nephew like a pawn for him to try and get that, is what is going on there. That's right. He's trying to get that. That's right. Kaz saying 2-finger salute to greedy Uncle Dennis. All right. I'll do that. Uncle Dennis Robertson, 2-finger salute for you, man. You're really like getting back in the news a lot now. A lot of people talking about Uncle Dennis now and problems with Uncle Dennis. Maybe Kawhi could actually get away from Uncle Dennis finally because he hears the noise and he sees just how toxic his Uncle Dennis has been all along because he's hearing all the noise. All of a sudden, oh my gosh, Dennis, did you really do all this stuff behind my back? I didn't even know. Yeah, Kawhi, I was doing this for you, man. This is for you and us and for our family. Why did you do this, Dennis? Look at what you've done. You've tarnished my legacy. It's like, is that shit going on with Kawhi and Uncle Dennis at this point? I don't know. I don't know. That's crazy. 2-finger salute for Ed Rogers III. That's right. That's right. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Fiercely saying, I just looked at Kaz's lineup for today. The Valkyries are playing. Good luck, Lex. I mean, I stacked up on some Valkyries too, because I knew that, in some ways, the way the schedule is ending is there's certain teams that are playing a bit more than others. So I've got 3 Valkyries myself, and I'll try and do something. Tina Charles is playing too today. So when Tina Charles is playing, well, I got a chance. I got a chance when Tina Charles is playing. But yeah, he's got almost a full lineup playing today. Yeah, he's got like 2 Valkyries. I have 3 Valkyries. So we'll just have to see. He's been doing really, really well. It's like at this point, all I can do is plug in and play my players and try to optimize my lineup as best as I can, use all my max transactions by the end of the week, and hopefully get somewhere within striking distance. But he is sprinting way ahead, and it's just how it is. He's been doing this to everybody this week, so it's just part of it. Yeah, he's laughing about it too. Fiercely saying, it's good next year we can only pick one player from the tempo. If they're hungry as a new expansion team, their starters are going to dominate. Yeah, I've seen that Chelsea Late put out an article on one of the Raptors sites about maybe 5 players that they may target with they're speculating the 6th pick in the WNBA draft. That seems a little low. Like, why can't we get higher pick? Is there rules against us getting higher picks just like before with Allen Iverson and the Raptors? Like, what the fuck is this shit? Y'all are trying to make this all stacked against the Canada team already? Come on now. Give us a fair entry and give us a fair chance. We just want an equal fair chance as all the other WNBA teams. Don't be trying to do shady shit like telling us we can't have certain draft picks just because. No, I want to see where they end up. One of the names on that list that Chelsea put out was Flange. Yeah, Flage, LSU, right? Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting player. I didn't see Chloe Kitts on that list, though. I want to see Chloe Kitts there. That's right. I want to see Chloe Kitts there. That's right. That's right. Yeah, only one tempo player per rosters for WNBA Fantasy. It's the same rule we have with the Raptors. You can only have one player from our home team on your roster at any given time. Do not try and hoard Raptors or tempo. You pick one Raptor in our NBA fantasy draft, and that's it. You don't get a chance to get another one. You want Scotty, you get Scotty. That's it. You don't get RJ. You don't get Emmanuel. You don't get Yak. You don't get Grady. You don't get Jacoby. Whichever Raptor you choose at whatever part of the draft is when you reach and get your Raptor. But don't try and get more than one Raptor. And that goes for the whole year. If your guy gets hurt and they go to the injury reserve, you got to drop them if you want to get a different Raptor. If you put them on injury reserve and they're waiting, and you're waiting for them to come back, you can't pick up an extra Raptor while that person is out because you'll end up with 2 when they come back, and you can't do that. You can't do that. This has been a stickler rule that we've had in the fantasy league. Of course, we haven't had to deal with it on WNBA fantasy until next year, but we will next year. And this year in NBA, once again, the same rule applies. Raptors and tempo, you only get one. We're super fans of these teams, and we will hoard those players if we get the chance. That's right. Cass saying, laughed my ass off. I thought you were frozen. I was about to refresh the stream. No, I had to do the signature freeze, obviously. Seriously, you telling me I do a good Nardwuar impersonation. I really do kind of do a good Nardwuar, don't I? I really do. I've got him. I mean, he's so awesome. Him and I are birds of a feather. Nardwuar has worked for a radio station for so long, and that was what I used to do. Like, I was just like Nardwuar in the 90s, just like him, interviewing artists and working for a radio station and being on the air and doing all that kind of stuff. So him and I are kindred spirits to a degree. His love for music and his knowledge of music, which is absolutely fantastic. It's something that I really look up to. And also he's somebody that like I said, he's a bird of a feather with me. He's a very interesting person. I salute you, Nardwuar, as somebody that I look up to and also identify with. Let's just put it that way. Identify with him. That's right. You thought I was frozen. So I must have done a good Nardwuar. If you thought I was frozen, you got to refresh. That's right. I must have done a good job. Fiercely saying this, Lex, staying still reminds me of when I would try to hold my breath underwater. I was holding my breath. That's why I had to stop doing it because it's like, man, you got to breathe. Like Nardwar probably figured that out early on. He's like, he's doing it and he's not breathing and he's like falling out like afterwards. But he probably figured out how he could sneak breathe while he's trying to be because if you really pay attention to him when he freezes at the end of his videos, his chest is going a little bit. His chest is going a little bit. People are so funny how they react to him. Some of them try and mimic him and freeze with him. Some of them try and mess with him. Some of them just leave. They're like, all right, Narwhal, you're doing your little freeze thing. All right, I'm out the door. I'm walking out. Stuff like that. It's crazy, man. Guys saying Nardwar is Canadian royalty, just like Tom Green. You can tell Nardwar really has passion for his job and researches thoroughly. Yeah, West Coast Nardwar is awesome, man. He's awesome. You know, I hope he starts a trend of if he gets more access to NBA players to start interviewing them more. That really isn't his wheelhouse, but it would be cool. Like, I'd love to see Nardwar interview most of the Raptors. Like Nardwar and Grady Dick, that would be a really crazy interview, I think. I think Nardwar and Scotty would be very interesting too. You know, it's Nardwar, Scotty Barnes. Yeah, Nardwar, I know you're in music, and I know SGA in some ways is like kind of out of your wheelhouse, but you've done actors and fighters and skateboarders and all kinds of different people other than musicians too, politicians. Maybe you could branch out and do a few more NBA players. I would like you to focus on our Raptors though, if you could. Keep it Canadian. Come over and see RJ, man. You've seen SGA already. Why don't you go see RJ Barrett? RJ Barrett would be perfect for you to interview, man. Seriously. And he would respect and love your show because he's probably watched it. I'll bet you money RJ Barrett knows who Nardwar is. I'll bet you money he does. Well, he's going to know, especially because his friend SGA is on the show now. That's right. Isaac Campbell put me on the blast with the starting five of Lex. Thank you, Isaac, holding it down in Ottawa for us here in the nation's capital of Canada, the great country of Canada. True north, strong and free forever. Never, never, ever. Elbows up. That's right, baby. That's right. Fiercely saying when the interview drops, you can notify us in the group chats. Yeah, when I find it, when I find the Nardwar interview, I will definitely be posting it if Trevor or Monique doesn't post it before me. Yeah, they might do it before me. Yeah. All right. This is interesting here. I saw this news this morning on Doug Smith's Blue Skies. Rest in peace, Ken Dryden, six-time Stanley Cup champion with Montreal in the 1970s, had a second life with Parliament service. Rest in peace. He was a fantastic goalie, also part of the 1972 Canada team that beat the Soviets. Yeah, he was also in the management of the Leafs for a while. I believe Ken Dryden was around when Pat Quinn was coaching, and he was the GM, and I was working there at that time. So he has Leaf connections too. Yeah, that's sad to hear. I did hear that he went into politics after his career, and he was an MPP, right? So yeah, well, rest in peace to Ken Dryden. My condolences to the Dryden family, the NHL family, the all the families around him. It's sad to hear. And it sounds like he was a really good man. He's a really good man. Kaz saying, I agree with MJ. If it's not Lex, I'm sure Mo or Trevor will just post it for us. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that one of them will find it. They're so good at what they do. Honestly, Monique and Trevor are so good at what they do. They're on it. There's every once in a while I'll find something before them and I'll be like, wow, I actually got something before them, but it's very rare at this point. It used to be that I was just as competitive with them as far as breaking the news and stuff like that. But at this point, it really is a two-person race like Shams and Woj between Monique and Trevor J. Like, oh my gosh, they're so quick. That's why it's like I'm telling members of this channel, people that watch this channel, become members. Because if you really want to be on the cutting edge, breaking news of Raptors, everything, Monique Lawrence and Trevor J have your back. And us too, the rest of us. You know, MJ's going to post some things here and there. You know, Mike will find things. Isaac will find things. You know, we all contribute to stuff like that, but not on the volume that Monique and Trevor do. Not on the volume that they do. And I appreciate them for it. Seriously, they don't let anything through. That's why I'm confident. I'm usually know what everything's going on because we are all looking and we are all sharing. And man, there's nothing that gets by us. There's nothing that gets by us as far as things. That's right. That's right. Kaz saying Nardwar and the Raptors would be legendary. Yeah. Yeah, I want to see him interview Ulrich Shamshay. That would be crazy. He's interviewing Shamshay about Cameroon. He's like, Ulrich, I heard that when you were a child, that you wrestled a lion. It's like, oh, Nardwar, how'd you do that? How'd you know that? I also heard that you are a prince. Yes, that you have royalty in your family. And I would like to say this prayer in your native tongue from Cameroon real quick for you in honor of your royalty. Nardwar, how do you know this? How do you know this, Nardwar? How do you know our text in our prayer? What are you doing? Oh, that would be so crazy, man. I love it, man. Ulrich Shamshay on Nardwar. That would be so good, man. That'd be so good. Smooth saying this only played 8 years in the NHL. In that time, 6 cups, 5 Venzina trophies. He was a goalie, right? And Calder trophy, Michael Jordan level stuff, a hockey giant. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, look, that's not really my world. I know who Ken Dryden is. And I respect a lot about him, but in some ways, once again, this is not a wheelhouse for me. Kind of like Nardwar's wheelhouse is music, and maybe not necessarily NBA. A little out of my wheelhouse, NHL, but that's just that. But I mean, we need to recognize Toronto sports person. I don't know, with the legend or icon, maybe. Yeah, I guess that's what Reggie's saying here. He's the legend for winning so much in such a little time. Yeah, that's pretty good. 6 cups in 8 years. Well, he just happened to be on the Canadiens at the right time. Is that what happened? He was on Montreal, right? Or something like that. Montreal was going crazy for a little while there with Stanley Cups. That's right. Fiercely saying Trevor J and Monique are the goats. Yeah. 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 Mo isn't Mo, Mo's finishing her summer up. She's gonna go in that grind soon. And she's very busy. She's got a lot going on. So, I wish Mo the best all the time. And I understand she's super busy. She can't be here every day. And that's just how it is. That's right. Cass saying W Nardwar impression. Yeah. I might have to pull that one out every once in a while. Maybe we'll do Nardwar Keith Pelly. You guys want me to do a new segment called Nardwar Interviews? Where I'll do a Nardwar a skit with him interviewing just one name. You guys name the interview. Like we used to do this on this channel all the time. Like I'll sing songs for you guys. I'll do impressions. Like if you told me, Lex, do an impression of this person, I try and do it. Say, Lex, sing this song from the 80s by the Go-Go's or something like that. I try and do it. Maybe we could have a specialized segment called Nardwar Interviews. And you say, Lex, do a Nardwar interview with this person, so-and-so, James Harden or something like that. And then I'll just act out an improvised scene of what Nardwar would ask that person and then what they would say. Yeah, that might be a fun little Easter egg, a secret thing that Raptor freaks that watch the channel that are here right now will hear me say this. And they say, oh, there's the Nardwar impression command. If you put it in, Raptors Freak will do a Nardwar impression of an interview with some person. So if you do that, man, that's right. You do that, man. I'll do it. Chicago Sky star Angel Reese will be suspended for the first half of Sunday's game against the Las Vegas Aces for what the organization called statements detrimental to the team. Yeah, Angel Reese is an outlaw. In some ways, Angel Reese is like Dennis Rodman of the WNBA. She is, because she's been physical with people, and they've been, issues with this, where she's been extra physical. She's also not totally been a team player at times in interesting ways. I don't know what she said. I have no idea what she said, but I wouldn't put it past her because she's very open with what she feels, and she's not filtering herself. So she probably said something that could have been detrimental to the Chicago Sky. In some ways, I worry about her. I mean, I know that she's one of the main stars of the WNBA right now, but in some ways, I worry if she's a good team player for her team. And this kind of stuff worries me. I don't know. Either way, Angel Reese, I'm for free speech. Whatever you said was probably fine, unless I heard it. I need to hear it probably to understand what she said. But yeah, they just suspended her for a half. They don't have the guts to suspend her for the whole game because they might need her. They just suspended her for the first half. It's weird, man. That's weird. Has the NBA suspended anybody for a half game in anytime recently, guys? Have you heard of that ever happening in the NBA? No. So why would this happen here? It's kind of weird. Why even suspend her? I mean, I guess In other levels of basketball, coaches will suspend players for a quarter or a half. I mean, I've seen that. Yeah, Johnny, you're late to practice again. You're going to miss the first half on Saturday's game, guy. Sorry, bro. You know the rules. Nah, man, no excuses. Don't tell me that Tim Hortons was backed up. I don't give a shit. You should have been here at 9 a.m. You're missing the first half of the game on Saturday. No excuses. Sorry. That's a tough coach. That's a tough coach right there. That kind of shit, you know. Mischief's here. Good to see the bass man. Good to see you, Jay. Ever since I started running 11 days in a row, I've been watching every Jays game. The Blue Jays beat the Yankees 7-1 on the road yesterday. Blue Jays got the best record in the American League. 21 games left. Let's go, Blue Jays. Let's go, Vladdy Jr. Let's go, Gosman. Let's go and get some pennant. Let's go and get some World Series. Yeah. Let's go, Blue Jays. I'm going to have to get my Blue Jays vintage gear out, y'all. Seriously, I got some Blue Jays vintage gear. I want to show y'all real quick. Look at this, man. Look at this badass Champions 1993 back-to-back Blue Jays blue shirt. Look at this beauty right here, Fall Classic. This is what we need more of, Blue Jays. Give me some more World Series gear this year, bye. Yeah, let's go. 93 Champions back-to-back shirt. Look at this. You can find this at Value Village. But this is an awesome shirt, World Series, back-to-back Champions shirt. Yeah, you got to love that, man. Yeah, I got a couple of old Blue Jays shirts in here that I just got kind of rolling around. I don't ever wear them, though. I don't want to mess them up with my body sweat. I'm like, oh, that shirt is awesome. I don't want to wear it. It's just like my Drake shirt from the finals game 1 of the Raptors versus Golden State. That Drake shirt, the OVO shirt. Like, man, I don't want to wear this shirt. There's people on eBay selling it for $300. Man, you can't wear that shirt. You're going to wear out the graphics. Well, the Raptors logo's on it. No, man, you can't wear your Drake shirt. It's only a special occasion you'll wear it. That's right. It's like my tuxedo, my Drake shirt from playoff game number 1. It's like my tuxedo. It's like, oh, Alexis dressed up today. He's wearing his OVO finals game 1 shirt. Oh, Alexis dressed up. It must be a special occasion, Lex. You're wearing your OVO Drake Raptors logo shirt from game 1 of the finals, the Raptors 2019 championship run. Yeah, it is a special occasion. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. That's right. Yeah. No, I try not to wear it. If you guys see me wearing that shirt on this channel, that's a special occasion. It's like, whoa, Lex is coming out with the championship guns. He's wearing his OVO Raptors logo shirt from that game. That's his famous Raptors shirt. That may be the most famous Raptors memorabilia shirt in the history of the Raptors. Is game 1 giveaway shirt, the long sleeve OVO with all the Raptors logos on it. Woo! That was a big deal, and everybody wanted one. That's why it's so expensive on eBay. That's right. That's right. Good to see you, Mischief. I love you, man. And let's go, Jays. Keep running. Seriously. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. If you're running that many days and they've been winning, keep running, man. Keep running. Keep going. Run, Forrest, run, is what I'm saying. That's right. Kaz is saying she pretty much said her teammates suck. And if they don't improve the roster, she will leave. Those weren't her exact words, but it's implied. Well, yeah, that's no good. That's detrimental to the team. That's very detrimental. I wonder if she'd do that under James Coco Wade's watch. Yeah, how's Coco Wade feeling about this? Can somebody get the assistant coach of the Raptors, former GM of the Chicago Sky over here, please, real quick? James Wade, did you hear what Angel Reese said about Chicago Sky? Oh, damn, why did she do this? I try to leave this team in a good place, and look at what she done, Angel Reese. Yeah, I don't know, man. I would get her out of there. Seriously. Sounds like she don't want to be in Chicago. I mean, what she's saying isn't wrong, though. They have sucked all year long. In the beginning of the year, it looked like they were going to have a hard time just getting one win because they were so disorganized and so not playing together. Yeah. She's dissing Arkia Nurse, though, guys. That's what in some ways is what's going on there. Yeah, and now she's trying to backtrack, saying she loves her teammates and appreciates the work they do, blah, blah, blah. You know what this is? This is a young woman who's not totally self-aware. This is a young woman who's not understanding. You write some checks, they may bounce because you shouldn't have wrote them. And in some ways, maybe she needs to get a little bit more media training is what's going on here. You don't do this, Angel. Even if you feel like you want to say it, even if you're just like, I'm keeping it real, y'all. No, you don't keep it real like that in that way. That's very, very bad. And this, Chicago Sky, I cannot, I'm not mad at them for this, because if you did what he's saying that you did, that's no good, man. You can't do that, because even if you don't like your team on the down low, you can't publicly broadcast it. You have to kind of just deal with it and get the fuck out when you can on your own choices. Now, if you want to try and force a trade behind the scenes with ownership or whatever, yeah, you can do that. But don't come out to the press conference and say your teammates suck and that you want to leave. No, that's not the way to handle it. That's not the way to handle it. Trust me. There's a lot of people that have been in your situation before, and different people have handled it different ways, and they've gotten better results for different ways. And in some ways, you went about this the wrong way, Angel Reese. So maybe you need some more media training on what you should and shouldn't say in interviews. Seriously, because you can get yourself in a problem like this. Backtracking now, huh? Yeah, I'm real with it, guys. I'm just real. Well, this is what's real about the reaction after you say shit like that. This is what happens. It's crazy. It's crazy. Fiercely said Chicago Sky are eliminated from playoff contention anyhow, but she needs to be careful as it's only her second year in the league. That's right. That's right. Seriously, there's not that many teams in this league. Seriously, there may be more in a few years, but right now there's not that many teams in this league. So you don't want to burn any bridges. You're going to burn a bridge with Chicago Sky right away? That's not smart. That is not smart. There's not a lot of options to play women's professional basketball and get paid a decent amount. So come on now, Angel Reese. You need to be smarter than this. Seriously, there's not a lot of options there. You don't want to burn that bridge with Chicago just in case. Seriously, there's not that much options. Fiercey's saying, let's go with the Blue Jays, right? She's got the baseballs and the blue hat. They're in the stadium. I love it. Love it. Let's go, Blue Jays. Keep winning, man. Yeah. So he's saying, wow, vintage items. You saw that shirt. You liked it? I got something else in here. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it off the top here. It might be hard for me to find because it's a black shirt. And I've got a lot of black shirts in here, but there's one in here in particular that I want to find right now if I can. If I can't find it, oh well. I hope I can find it. Let me see. Is this it here? Nope. That's not it. Man, this is bad TV, Lex. What are you doing? That's not it, is it? No. What is that shirt? Is that it all the way at the other end? Nope, that's my Rob Van Dam shirt. This shirt's kind of cool. I can show you guys. This is a Rob Van Dam shirt from WrestleMania when I went with when Hogan fought The Rock. I got this shirt at that WrestleMania. And this shirt has a distinction, Reggie, of being the only WWF Rob Van Dam shirt. Is before they switched over to WWE. So on the back, it says WWF.com. And it's the only shirt they made for Rob. Wow. It was still WWF. So I like this shirt a lot. I got it at WrestleMania 18. Wait, was that 18 or 17? It was the one in Toronto. You know the one I'm talking about. Here, yeah, we'll go through Lex's t-shirt collection. Here's a vintage Leaf shirt from playoff runs in the early 2000s. This was a Leaf shirt they gave out to the crowd. Was in the seats. I don't have many Leaf shirts. Here's a vintage Dudley Boys shirt, Dudleyville Lumber Company. You see, I got the WWF Dudley shirt, WWF.com. We got wood. That's right. We got wood. Childish. In some ways, to wear that out in public, it's like gets a lot of questions. This shirt is interesting here. This is really old shirt. This shirt was made in 1986. It's a Rattlers battalion shirt. This is my dad's old ROTC shirt when he worked at Florida A&M with the Rattlers. And this is an ROTC shirt that the ROTC wore in the 80s. Reserve Officers Training Corps. And this, look at the Rattlers logo, and it's got the date on it, 86. It's threadbare too. It's like this. I've been wearing this shirt since the 90s. I think I've been wearing this shirt for 30 years. It's kind of crazy. I got shirts like that. All right, where's this Blue Jays shirt I want to find? Come on now. Where are you? I don't see it right now. Maybe it's in the lower deck. I should stop showing my shirts right now. In some ways, that's like, what are you doing, Lex? What are you doing, man? You clothes horse. Sit here. Sit down here. I don't see it. I don't know where it is. I have another Blue Jays World Series shirt that I was trying to look for right now. Yeah, you have a few of the old Blue Jays World Series shirts and hats. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have. Like, I have some memorabilia. One of the things I used to have, I don't know where it is. I might still have it though. Is I had a little mini bat, like a baseball bat, a wooden mini bat that they gave out at a certain time when in the 80s. It was a Blue Jays wooden bat, and it has the Blue Jays logo and name on the end of it. It's about this long, and it's not that big. It's like just a little uh dimensions wise bat, but it was a Blue Jays bat. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Kaz saying I was born in 92, so I missed those World Series wins. Yeah, they were something else to witness, man. They were something else to witness. They were pretty cool. They were pretty cool. I want the Blue Jays to get those feelings again. Seriously, it's about time for them to get it back, is what I'm saying right now. Yeah. Yeah. Good analogy about the checks bouncing. That's right. That's right. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to talk, make sure, yeah, in some ways, Angel Reese needs media training. I think that's what's happening. Fiercely saying Chicago Sky has high caliber players in Cardoza, Nurse, Banham, Atkins, Williams, and more. One point that derailed them was Vandersloot being injured. It happens. Seattle was trash last year, but look at them now. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in some ways, this is not team building. In some ways, if she's publicly throwing her teammates on the bus, that's not going to help with her relationship with them. So it's not even that she's hurting relationship with the franchise, the Sky. She's hurting her relationship with those players that you just named. Like in some ways, you're going to play in the same league with these people, and they may be like, you're a bitch. And they're like going to come back and get receipts in some way, somehow later on, man. I'm just saying, man. Cass saying, does MJ have a tennis ball in there? I don't know if it's tennis ball in there. There was a yellow ball that looked like a tennis ball in there. Maybe there's some yellow baseballs. They're like practice hitting balls. I don't know. Cass, this is a tennis one. Okay, that's the tennis one. Cass said, I loved RVD when I was a kid. Okay. Yeah, RVD, I used to love him too, but man, it sucks. All my heroes are disappointing me as I get older. It sucks. You find out more about people and you're just like, yeah, you're actually a turd. Honestly, RVD has really messed up views on race. Like, it's really crazy. Like, some of this stuff, because I was watching his podcast in the last year. I stopped watching him and I stopped being a big fan of his because he said some crazy ass shit about how he views race. As a white guy, he has no fucking clue what he's talking about. First of all, he started saying, "Oh, black people are always using the race card and all this stuff and all this." I'm like, "Bro, whoa, man, where did this come from? Like, nobody even brought this up." And he just went on a diatribe saying that like people make race more of an issue than it is. It was never even really an issue in the history of the world and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, "Holy crap, I didn't realize that Rob Van Dam in some ways is absolutely blind spot on race issues, and he's absolutely an idiot when it comes to his views on race. Absolutely an idiot. Such a dumbass." And it's sad because I've met Rob. I like Rob Van Dam. I think he's one of the greatest wrestlers ever. But man, hearing those views coming out of his mouth just disappointed me and just made me decide he's not my favorite wrestler of all time anymore. It's Brett. Brett's my favorite wrestler of all time. He's the only one who hasn't disappointed me. I don't give a shit if Brett's complaining about Goldberg and concussions and all that kind of shit. Bret Hart is the greatest there ever was, there ever will be, and all that shit he says. He just is. He's such a good wrestler, longevity, and his character, and a lot of things about Bret that I really love. And yeah, so he does complain, and I get it. Some people don't like him now because they sully him with that, but bullshit, man. In some ways, some of the stuff he's talking about is for real, and the Goldberg stuff is for real, and stuff like that. So yeah, RVD is too bad. Chris Jericho completely disappointed me. He was one of my favorites when I was younger too. Chris Benoit, don't even get me started. Some of our Canadian wrestlers have really gone down the tubes. Chris Jericho, fuck you. 2-finger salute. And Chris Benoit, man, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Seriously, that was so crazy what he did. So bad, man. Brain injury. That's what it was right there. Fiercely saying, I typed in a baseball and my emoji keyboard gave me the either ones. Yeah, I've seen those yellow ones before. I think they're fine. Yeah, 10-4. Yeah, Lex, Chris Jericho, or Edge. I like Edge more. Edge is a Toronto guy. Him and Christian are guys that I respect and like, although Edge was kind of creepy with Lita and the situation with Lita and the Hardys. I don't know. Adam seems like a good guy. I mean, he comes back and he supports the Leafs. He's a good Toronto kid. I like the three of them, Christian, Edge, and Trish. They were kind of all the Toronto kids right around that time in WWF. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Adam. In some ways, it's like his era came after when I left too. Like I only watched Edge and Christian when they were doing the Brood and kind of doing the early stuff with the dumping of the blood and the tag team matches with Dudley's and Hardy Boys. I watched them then, TLC stuff. But once Edge went solo and he was like a champion and all this stuff, I stopped watching wrestling by 2004. So I really only caught the tag team era of Edge, and all the stuff afterwards, like the very pinnacle and him being the top star and all the different things that happened, him cutting his hair, all this different stuff. I didn't give a shit. I didn't watch any of that. But yeah, from his early career, and he seems like a good Canadian guy. Fuck Val Venus. Sean Morley's an idiot. Fuck that guy. Yeah. Let's see. Just Joe. He seemed like an all right guy. There's different Canadian guys that are around this area that grew up around the GTA that, some of them are okay. But Brett's my favorite. Brett's my favorite for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. White shirt, blue shirt, blue shirt. Okay. Okay. So I know where you stand on Edge versus Christian now. I don't even think about Edge versus Christian because I only see them as brothers. And if they had feuds, well, that was all kayfabe, and they were just doing it for the show. Like when they had bitter feuds, I don't know what they did to each other and why they were at each other. I'll say this: Edge was the better wrestler, and Christian's the better character. Christian's the better character. Christian was just so good with uh, uh, dramatics and like causing storyline and his facials. He's just so good at taking bumps and going woo and like getting all crazy. And then the funny stuff that they did when they were like a tag team and they would say the stupidest shit backstage and wear crazy glasses and stuff like that. That was all Christian. Christian in some ways his talent was just being a goofy character, and Edge was more the worker. He was the guy who was good in the ring, the pretty boy, but he wasn't as funny as Christian. Christian is so much more funny. So much more funny. I like both of them, man. I like both of them. Yeah. All right. I forgot about Christian. I wasn't a big fan of all three, to be honest. My goal is and always will be Stone Cold. Stone Cold is your GOAT. Yeah, Stone Cold's not bad, man. I like Stone Cold. Stone Cold got made by Bret Hart. There's no Stone Cold without Bret Hart. Bret Hart made him, and Stone Cold would tell you that. It was that bloody match where Austin refused to give up and the sharpshooter. He's bleeding all over the ring. Yeah, that made Austin. Bret Hart made Austin, and he would admit that. A lot of those wrestlers from the 90s would admit Bret Hart made them. Kevin Nash would say that too. He'd say, yeah, Bret Hart made me and Diesel way back. He made us. Yeah. Scott Hall, Sean Waltman, they all say stuff like Bret Hart did so much for us. All of them will say that. All right, let's keep going in the tabs. We're talking Kevin Willis today in wrestling. Kevin Willis was giving the clothes to the wrestling stars. There's straight goods on Canadian goods today. We're talking about Cullen. Cullen's Foods. They're 100% Canadian-owned beans. That's right, canned beans. We've been, I found that like the American companies dominate the bean field here. But in some ways, we need to find the Canadian beans. And well, Cullen's canned beans are 100% Canadian owned. Their beans are grown and processed and packaged in Canada, and they focus on Canadian agriculture and sustainability. So Cullen's Foods, if you see the name Cullen on a can of beans, that's a Canadian 100% product, and you should support that over Bush's beans or any other brands that come up from the States. If your grocery store is not carrying a Canadian bean company, get them to, ask them to, demand it. Say, hey, I want you to get Cullen's. Yeah, can you get Cullen's beans? I've seen you got these Heinz and these Bush's beans and stuff like that. I don't want these. I want Cullen's. So please, could you start buying them? There you go. Support your Canadian economy. That's what I'm saying, y'all. That's what I'm saying. All right, let's go look at the Instagram stories real quick. Jamal McGlure is got the gala is coming up. It's the Winner's Circle. Get your tickets using the link below. This is all through Paradise. This is September the 14th, 4 to 10 p.m. at Parkview Manor. It's the Toronto Revelers Club and the Winner's Circle. Jamal McGlure, go on down. That's right. Also, Jamal went to the Hall of Fame ceremony. This was going on yesterday, I guess. And he's filming other Heat alumni like himself, and it's Dwayne Wade. And guess who? Yeah, this jackass will never ever show up for the Raptors, but he's showing up at the Hall of Fame ceremony for Carmelo Anthony, it looks like. So yeah, Chris Bosh hugging Dwayne Wade and just living his Heat life and stuff like that. You know what? I've realized, Chris Bosh, he's such a turncoat in some ways that he loves Goran Dragic more than he loves the Raptors, guys. Seriously, that's true. He went to Goran's retirement game and wanted to play in it, and he embraces Goran left and right. So in some ways, I would say Chris Bosh is a villain, guys, because he's aligned himself with a villain like Dragic. So just understand this. Chris Bosh has more love for the individual Goran Dragic than the Raptors, a team that he drafted him and made him a top player in the league. Yeah, and you were only a top player in the league when you were on the Raptors. You were not in Miami. Let's just put it that way. Okay, Chris? But yeah, in some ways, I'm not going to two finger salute Chris Bosh, but it's borderline, guys. It's borderline. That's right. Jamal's asking everybody this, Jamal McGlure. Did anybody else grow up eating this? Mostly syrup, 47 peaches, a few pears, one grape, and maybe a half a cherry if you were lucky. That's a fruit cocktail. That's a fruit cocktail, Jamal McGlure, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, there was always one gooseberry in there. Just one gooseberry and maybe a half a cherry. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was mostly peach with some pear and then maybe one gooseberry and a half of a cherry. Yeah, this is so true. I've heard about this. This is a fruit cocktail can when you're a kid. Sandro Mama is getting ready for his game tomorrow against France. Georgia, you better get ready. You have a real test in the first round in Riga, Latvia at Eurobasket 2025. That's the matchup. France versus Georgia, 8:15 in the morning tomorrow. I was thinking, should we do a watch along? Nah, Lex, don't do a watch along. It's not been working when you do the watch along, so don't do it. Don't do it. Angolan, Bruno Fernando is just living that life, man. It's all bright lights and sunglasses and suits and celebrating since Angola won Afrobasket. It's just he's living that life, man. He's smiling. He's looking good. Yuta Watanabe doing some ads in Japan, holding something up for Sun Churl. And yeah, there's some action with him in action, dunking it, doing what he does, man. There's something going down there. That's right. Let's see. Norman Powell is filming a thunderstorm, is some lightning in the clouds. Very interesting photography there. Elijah Martin, it was at the Sky Dome last night at a concert. Who was playing at Rogers Center last night, guys? But yeah, Elijah took the concert in. They had the dome open and the tower was purple. And that's impressive. To a kid like Elijah, first of all right, listen. Elijah Martin is kind of from Mississippi, right? And he went to school in Florida. And in some ways, he's going more international than ever now. He's been drafted by the Raptors. He's been to Madrid already this summer. He's been traveling around, training with them in different spots. And now he comes back to Toronto, an international city he plays in now professionally. And he goes to a huge concert at the Rogers Center with a huge amount of people sitting in it. And the Sky Dome's open. And that's got to be just pure vibes, man. That's got to feel like, wow, I really am a part of something huge at this point, that I'm on the Raptors and this is the city I'm going to play for and represent. Because this city can be really impressive to people who come here from outside and see just the scale of it and just what it's all about. And well, Elijah Martin's taking in an awesome show at Sky Dome last night. I don't know who was playing though. If y'all know who was playing at Sky Dome last night, please put it in the comments. I would like to talk about it. Andrew Jones went to the Hall of Fame ceremony with his beautiful wife, Juju, and they went and yeah, they were on the red carpet and they were looking very dashing in their look. But yeah, he went to the Basketball Hall of Fame ceremony the last couple of days. Our coach of Raptors 905 G League. That's right. Lloyd is celebrating somebody getting signed, and I think he has a connection with Scotty and Jonathan because they're all posting it. Canadian guard Rudy Williams has signed with Dinamo Bucuresti of the Romania Liga Națională ahead of the 2025-2026 season. So I don't know who Rudy Williams is. He's Canadian, so he must be a friend of theirs from around here or something, or maybe he's on players only shoe deal or something. But Lloyd is putting him on blast, so they're happy for Rudy signing with his new team for the new season in Europe. And Lloyd has also reposted. Scotty had a picture drop on Instagram yesterday of his trip in Greece earlier this summer. Scotty saying that it's not a vibe, it's life, and it's just how he's living, bro. And it's awesome. Lloyd reposting Scotty's post of his trip to Mykonos, Greece. And Jonathan Mobo is celebrating Rudy Williams signing. Same post as Lloyd. And he's reposted Scotty's post of Greece also. Scotty in the elevator with the sunglasses and the white shirt. Gary Trent Jr. is working out with Emmanuel Quickly and other people, including Hassan Whiteside and a bunch of people at Remy's Hollywood practice. So Gary's been right up there with Emmanuel. Emmanuel and Gary are working out in the same games right now. And there's a lot of NBA guys in Hollywood right now doing that stuff. But Emmanuel's probably going to be coming up to Toronto very, very soon, guys. Very, very soon. Raptors official admin's asking what I would have submitted to Raptors Media Day. So what are you doing, Raptors official admin? Are you asking us crowdsourcing for questions for Media Day? Like, seriously, is this what you're doing? Is that why you're asking this? Some of the stuff people were saying was stupid. But no, I can think of some very good questions for people on Media Day. Is Keith Pelly going to take the mic? I have some questions. That's right. Is Keith Pelly going to take the mic? Because I'd like to ask him some questions. Bobby Webster, I could ask Bobby Webster some questions. Darko, ask him some questions. The players, sure. I'd love to ask Grady Dick some funny questions. Yeah. Maybe you can do that right now. Raptors admin is saying, what do you want to ask at Raptors Media Day? And it's 4 weeks now still till Media Day. And, well, they want to get those questions in. So maybe you can ask a question. They're commemorating buzzer beaters for the Raptors on official admin. They started with a Vince Carter, a Charles Oakley, a Corey Joseph, all kinds of buzzer beaters in the Raptors history. Pascal Siakam against Phoenix. Yeah, some of those are really good. Gary Trent buzzer beater. Yeah, there's some good ones on there. We do have some great historic buzzer beaters in our history as a franchise. Fantastic stuff. Raptors putting on blast Scotty and Greece, just like everybody else. There's Emmanuel at Remy. Just like I was saying, Emmanuel Quickly's out there working at Remy, that blue wall with the pink highlights, the pink door. Yeah, he's out there. He's out there working. Chris Boucher did an appearance yesterday in Toronto still. He was out at where was he exactly? He was out at Jane and Finch with his Slim Duck Foundation, visiting in Toronto real quick before he heads off to Boston for the season. So Chris is still doing his obligations here for the kids and Slim Duck Foundation here at Jane and Finch in Toronto. And that's fantastic to see. Yeah, he's going to be on his way to Boston soon. And, well, it's going to be sad, and it'll be weird to see him somewhere else. Another one for the community before he heads to Boston is what it says right here. Coincidentally, this was one of my elementary schools, so I had to pull up. So there you go. This guy's saying, Ahmed saying that this is, or Victoria's saying that this was her elementary school, so she had to pull up and see what's up. Kelly Olynyk is is putting on blast Nickel for waiting 12 hours to buy his cousin's shoes. It's like family ties. And like, now that we know why he did it, I feel better about it. Thank you, Kaz. But like, Kelly was even making note of this. Why is Nickel outside sleeping in a chair for 12 hours to get his own cousin's shoes? For nostalgia. Because he wanted to feel that feeling of doing that again. It's just so weird, man. It's kind of weird in a way also, guys. That's not the part everybody likes usually, is the waiting around. It's getting the thing. The Toronto Temple are going to be in Montreal from September 13th to this 14th. So I guess that's next weekend. Yeah, they're going to be doing events around there. Support Toronto Tempo. Come down there and check out what they're doing, guys. So you can get involved, and maybe there'll be giveaways, swag giveaways. There'll be maybe some basketball played, some basketball coaching. You know, maybe appearances by Toronto Tempo people like Teresa Resch, Monica Wright-Rogers. So yeah, Montreal, it's your turn next weekend. Toronto Tempo is coming through, and they want you to come down to their events. Of course, they've had successful events in Vancouver in the last couple months also, and other places. Kyle Lowry has got, who's that on blast? Sadiq Bey. I'm not even totally sure why he's got Sadiq Bey on blast on his Instagram. For some reason he does. Is Sadiq Bey a Sixer now? I'm not totally sure. Savannah Hamilton had a different guest host, or a guest host on his her show, Cinderella Stories. Ashley Dawkins was out, so they brought in Nadine Singh to do a show with her on Cinderella Stories. Very interesting. Barbie needs a tag. What are we saying? Okay, Barbie needs a tag, y'all. They got a Barbie who plays hockey. And Savannah's celebrating the Valkyries have clinched the playoffs in the WNBA. Very, very cool. Matt Devlin has been announced as a confirmed speaker at the Primetime Sports and Entertainment Expo. Primetime Sports or whatever. He's a play-by-play announcer for the Raptors, and he's a confirmed speaker at that event. Serge Ibaka, they're dropping that his thing's coming out on September the 9th, and they showed clips of him driving that red car through Roncesvalles that they filmed a month or so ago. So something's going on. I thought the air freshener in the car looked like Jonas Valanciunas. And I'm like, is he going to do a How Hungry Are You episode with Jonas? That would be cool. I mean, seriously, you could do that. You could do 100 How Hungry Are You shows again, Serge, can't you? I mean, I'd love for you to do more How Hungry Are You? And could you, once again, I'd like to see the young Raptors on your show. Could you get Scotty Barnes on How Hungry Are You, or Grady Dick, or Jacoby Walter, or Brandon Ingram, or something like that? That'd be cool. Maybe you just don't know those guys. Maybe that's why. He's saying happy birthday to his friend General. It's Serge Ibaka saying happy birthday. Jamal Shed is putting in more work, and he's on his side. He's doing stretches and balance and strength. He's saying it's his last day in Austin, and then he's going to be going to the 6. So yeah, he's on his way to the 6 today, guys. Jamal Shed Van Vliet is on his way, 23, coming back to the 6 to play basketball for the Raptors. There you go. There's your Instagram stories for today. Yeah, lots going on. People are starting to gravitate towards our great city of the 416 and the Big Smoke, the Hogtown, the T-Dot. That's right. That's right. They're coming. They're coming up. They're coming up. All right, let's see. Let's see. All right. Oh, I love it. You guys filled it up a bit while I was gone. Let's see what you guys are saying since I was gone. Lex, Chris Jericho, or Edge? Definitely Edge. Definitely Edge. I can't stand Chris Jericho at this point. Him and his wife were Trump supporters, first of all. So fuck you, Chris Jericho. I mean, partly this mess we're in is partly your fault because you supported this idiot who's in charge down in the States. So that's the biggest reason why I don't like Chris right now, is because his wife is crazy and she's a Trump supporter and she dragged his ass into that world. And he's an idiot. He's an idiot. He's absolutely an arrogant ass. Like, the funny thing is about Jericho is, like, when he was on WCW when he was younger, I thought he was just like a funny, arrogant kind of person. He's playing himself. That's who he is. Like, that crazy, arrogant shit that he was doing, that's actually him. He's actually like that in real life. I thought it was a character. I thought, no, he's just being a jackass, and he's really a nice guy. And there was a nice side to him. But at this point, no, he's just an arrogant jackass at this point. The character he played is actually who he is. And fuck him. Fuck him for contributing to the Trump apocalypse. Yeah, Chris Jericho, your hands are bloody with this shit too. I'm keeping track of who is on which side, and Jericho was on the wrong side. So yeah, Edge just, I'm sure, was on the right side of things. Let's see. Fiercey's got that Blue Jay shirt. All right. Okay, so I know where you stand on Edge versus Christian now. Okay, yeah. Yeah, all right, let's see. I went back on that. Kaz is saying go Georgia. I like that. Mischief saying, I know I haven't been around much on here. I've been camping out every weekend on my 1973 13-foot, 6-seater, 270-pound Boston Whaler electric outboard motor. I turn it into a mini yacht with electric motor. That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. I know Mischief, there's a part of the year where he loves to escape to the boat. And he just gets on the boat for like a good chunk of the year. Listen, Mischief, man, like I always tell you guys can come and go like a boomerang. Go live your life. Go away for how long you need to. If it's days, weeks, months, years, old Raptors Freak hopefully will be here still when you come back. So yeah, Mischief, always feel welcome to come back, Jay. We love you, man. I love meeting you at the Real Jerk that night. And you're a real one. Don't worry about it, man. It's not like class. I'm not keeping attendance. You guys come and go as you can. And when you show up, I'm overjoyed. That's what it is right there. Cass saying a country music singer, Morgan Wallen, was playing at the Rogers Center last night. So that's the show he was at. He went to see Morgan Wallen. That may be actually why Elijah came early. Seriously, because I think he came early back to Toronto. And it may be very much on purpose. It's like, I want to go to that Morgan Wallen concert at the Skydome. And Raptors, can you guys get me tickets to Morgan Wallen? Of course we can, Elijah. It's the same company now. And Rogers owns that building too. Oh, okay. I'm going to go down there to Morgan Wallen then and check out that concert. That makes sense. Morgan Wallen's like huge right now. He's like one of the most popular musical artists in the world right now, Morgan Wallen and his Miami song. W at Mischief. That's right. W at Mischief. You know what? I'm going to give Mischief a dunk for being a long time, cool Raptor Freak, and also the bass man. He's the bass man. That's what his nickname is, because he is the bass man. That's right. He's the bass man and the bass man. How about that? Whoa, a little play on words. That's right. We can switch it. It's either one works. He's on that bass and he's on that bass with the fishing rod out on his boat. There you go. That's right. He's on both. There you go. Superfan is here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Superfan. Good morning, Rapid Free Crew. Kevin Willis fought so hard for us. I called him the rebound machine. Donovan Bennett out at Sportsnet. Who's next? Laugh out loud. Donovan Bennett is at Sportsnet. Oh, you mean, they got kicked out. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Rogers. Rogers kicking out people of color off their channel all of a sudden. It's like anti-DEI initiatives. Rogers doesn't want Savannah Hamilton around all of a sudden, which is so crazy. I don't understand how you could let go of Savannah Hamilton. Ed Rogers, you're an idiot, bro. You are an idiot. I don't even know who this guy is, Mo. I'm not even gonna lie. Donovan Bennett. I don't watch Sportsnet. I do not watch Sportsnet. I do not know any of the anchors. Osaka or whatever her name is, Omeka or whatever. I don't fucking know who those people are. I don't watch them. I do not watch Rogers Sportsnet. I do know who Michael Grange is because he writes articles and he's, part of the Raptors broadcast. I do know who Brad Fay is, unfortunately. I do know who Danielle Michaud is, unfortunately. Sherman Hamilton, I love you, man. You're awesome. You're totally cool. But most of these Sportsnet people that are anchors on Sportsnet channel, I don't know who the fuck these guys are, ladies and guys are. I don't give a shit about anybody who's on their broadcast, like in the booth, like talking about they're doing the hockey and the Jays highlights. No, I don't watch those people. I don't watch Sportsnet. I don't watch Sports Center. I don't watch these jackasses that sit behind a table that used to be like ESPN Sports Center when they used to give the scores and the highlights. No, they're just opinion pieces now, and they're just fucking perception pieces. And in some ways, they're not even covering things the right way. They talk about what they want to talk about. They don't talk about what they should talk about. So I'd rather just watch the sports, watch for myself, and talk about it here. And then I don't even have to hear what they have to say. I feel bad for Donovan Bennett. But in some ways, I'm like keeping track of who's getting fired around different places right now. And it seems like a lot of people of color are getting fired in the United States. And a lot of people of color are getting fired from Rogers right now. Ed Rogers III, two-finger salute to you, man. Two-finger salute to you. That's right. That's right. Yeah, Kevin Willis was a rebound machine. And maybe he should be in the Hall of Fame. Maybe he should. Mischief saying, thank you, Fiercey Salsera and Isaac Campbell. Lex, you got to do a Randy Savage and Hulk impersonation. All right, I can do this. I was doing Macho Man last night, actually, because I was playing Scrabble with my dad. And on the TV, a match from Road Wild. It's pay-per-view when Macho Man was NWO. He came out with Elizabeth, and they were wearing the black and white NWO. And it was one of those matches where they had bikers all around the ring with their motorcycles, and they're all revving. And he's fighting Paul White. He's fighting rookie Giant, the Giant. He came out there, and the Giant was fighting Macho Man, and it was crazy. There was one point where they were outside the ring, and the Macho Man took Elizabeth, and he put her in between him and the Giant. And the Giant just picked up Elizabeth like she was nothing and lifted her way up in the high and just put her down softly over on the other side. And then Macho came at him, and Giant picked up Macho Man straight up, and he was on the outside of the ring and threw him back into the ring over the top rope. And then he proceeded to kick his ass. It was so awesome. But when Macho was coming out, his music was like the NWO music. And then every once in a while it would go, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like on the music. He's coming into the arena, and it's like the NWO song. And every once in a while I'll go, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And when he got in the ring, he got the mic and he did his own, like, oh, yeah, afterwards. And I was like, yeah, that's it. My dad was laughing at me because I was doing it perfectly, like with it, like in beat with it when he was coming out. And it was like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Elizabeth, get my robe. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love Randy. Rest in peace, Randy. You going to ask me to choose between Savage and Hogan? I'm picking Randy. Fuck Hulk Hogan, racist ass piece of shit. Randy Savage was a badass. We love Randy Savage. But Hulk Hogan, fuck him. You know, brother, I would never let my daughter go out with... Oh, no, don't even go there, Hogan. Stop. That's right. I don't want to do no Hogan impersonation. That's right. Most saying, go Georgia. Yeah, go Georgia. Not the state of Georgia. No, go Georgia, the country. That's right. Goga, Georgia. Goga, Georgia. Goga, Georgia. Goga, Sandra Mamu, Goga, Georgia. 30 days until Raptors basketball. Let's go. Let's go. Dunk for Monique. We'll do that, Isaac. We'll do that. Monique Lawrence, you're on 99. George Mikan for your dunk total at this point. 99. About to break that century mark. That's nice. That is nice. All right, let's see. Raptors Reddit. What are y'all talking about on Raptors Reddit? Nickel Alexander Walker waited 12 hours in the rain to be the first to buy his cousin's new shoes. You know what? He was in the rain? This even gets crazier, Nickel Alexander Walker. You were in the rain? What, 12 hours? What are you doing, man? This is crazy. Yeah, they're talking about Uncle Dennis wanting an ownership stake in the Maple Leafs on here. It's hilarious. Let's see. Yeah. You know, it's gotten to the point where not only are Raptors fans saying we dodged a bullet with Kawhi Leonard, but Spurs fans are all the way back going, we dodged a bullet with Kawhi Leonard. They're saying it too now. Now that Kawhi came and won a championship with us, left after 1 year, and gone into the Clippers, the Spurs fans are now saying that they've dodged a bullet by not having Leonard on their team longer than they did. Because they understand what's happened with Kawhi Leonard just recently is very damaging to the Clippers franchise. It's very, very damaging. Very, very, very damaging. Yeah, it's crazy. Good look into the fraud side of things. That's right. That's right. I don't know. Let's see. Kawhi and Dine versus $28 million tree planting sponsorship. And Steve Ballmer keeps saying they conned me. And whatever they did with him separate from me wasn't anything to me. Oh, yeah, that's an easy out. That's your alibi, Steve Ballmer, that they conned everybody. You didn't know what's going on. Bullshit. Why the hell would they give him $28 million just out of the blue for nothing on the side? And somebody involved in it saying, yeah, we did this to help with paying Kawhi outside the salary cap. Man, you are such a liar, Steve Ballmer. Seriously, he's saying he didn't know anything about this. Yeah, you just want culpable. You want deniability is basically what you want, man. He's such a liar, man. All right, that's my Raptors Reddit reactions for today. It's still too much about Kawhi, y'all. Too much about Kawhi, man. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Happy birthday to Kevin Willis. That's right. He's our Share the Love Club for today once again. And like I said, Kevin is 63 years old today. And I appreciate him making the trip up to Toronto this past year and making an appearance at Raptors game as a part of our alumni in our 30th anniversary season. That shows that you care about your linkages here. You did the Raptors Raptors Delight. You did that bullshit show that the Sportsnet put out. I think you even showed up on Open Gym. So yeah, we appreciate you, Kevin Willis. And Chris Bosh, fuck you, is what I'll say to him. That's right. That's right. It's the difference. It's like, are you making the effort to keep your ties with the Raptors going? Well, Chris Bosh ain't. You know he's not. But Kevin Willis is. And that's what I like. That's what I like right there. So what else we got on here? All right, maybe it's time to do the classic card, guys. And we're an hour and a half. So we might as well just start wrapping up the show. Tomorrow I'm going to do a special report on seniority. Yeah, tomorrow's Grandparents' Day. I don't know if you guys know about that. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about seniority and why it matters. You know, a lot of young people don't want to respect seniority. They think that they just know it all, and they don't want to respect older people that have done it before them. And I'm going to talk about why that's not smart. And that in some ways, even though some people think that, oh, young people just come into the NBA and take over and do stuff like Cooper Flag, you know, there's stuff we'll talk about this tomorrow. We'll talk about this tomorrow because it still matters. Some people say that seniority and like having elders and experience in some ways doesn't matter anymore. Talent usurps that, but that's bullshit. And I'm going to talk about why tomorrow. All right, who did I get? I got to make sure I know who's on the card so that I can make sure I say who won it. All right, classic card of the day. Get your answers in. Full name answer. Do not half-ass this. Write the full name answer of this classic NBA player on this classic NBA card, and you can get the classic Raptor Freak points. That's right. So if you know who this is, it's a Spur, this guy. If you know who this guy I know from another team, David Robinson. That's a good guess, Fiercey. That is not David Robinson. David Robinson would have played around this era, though, possibly for them. Yeah, he did play for them at this time. But this guy's nowhere near as famous or important as David Robinson. This guy, Jason Maxiell. That's an interesting guess. It's not right. It's an interesting guess, though. This player was an original Magic expansion player. This guy was on the Magic the first year the Magic ever played. Like he was an original. I think he was even drafted in the expansion draft to the Magic, in the expansion draft, and he would have been taken from the Knicks to come to the Magic. And this guy is on the Spurs at this point. This is after the Magic, though. This is when he was playing after on the Magic. He wasn't on the Magic at this point. He went to the Spurs. So there you go. There's a couple of stops right there in a row. He was left exposed in the expansion draft when Orlando was coming into the league, and Orlando snatched him up as one of their expansion draft picks in their first year. So yeah, if you guys know who that is, and this is later in his career, right there, it's a little tough. You'd have to know your late '80s NBA history to kind of know this card. If you guys are struggling with it, I think Smooth would get this right away if he was here right now. But yeah, it's like DZ might know this too if he was around. I don't know where my classic card heavy hitters are these days. I don't even think Ahmet would know this one because this one's a little bit before his time. Yeah, Sleepy Floyd. That's an interesting guess. Slug DZ is here. Slug DZ is here. No, it's not Eric Floyd. Eric Floyd was a guard. This guy's a forward. This guy's a power forward. This guy is a power forward right here. You guys have given me good guesses, so I'll start giving you guesses on his name. His last name is the same last name of one of the characters in the board game Clue that is male and bald. His last name is the same last name as one of the characters in the board game Clue who is male and bald. Yeah. So if you know the last names of the characters in Clue, you know the last name of this player. If you can figure out who the bald guy in Clue is. Yeah. Yeah, on my game he was bald, but maybe he's not bald on every game. I guess in the the movie, which is getting re-released with Tim Curry as the butler, he would have been played by Michael McKean. The character that he was played by Michael McKean is the character's last name or the player's last name. So yeah, do you guys know the game Clue? The board game, Parker Brothers Clue, with the weapons and the conservatory and the candlestick? You know that game? That's what I'm talking about right now. His first name, let me see what's a good way to do this. His first name is probably the first name of one of the greatest African-American actors in the history of Hollywood. Yeah, Sidney Green. That's it, Slug DZ. You got it. Sidney Green. Mr. Green with the candlestick and the conservatory. Sidney Green. Sidney Poitier. Sidney Green. Yeah, Sidney Green was on the Knicks, and then he got taken to the Magic. And it's all right there. See, there's Bulls, Pistons, 2 years with the Knicks, then the Magic for 1 year, and then he went to the Spurs. And that's all right there. So Lex was right. Sidney Green is a 200-point card. Slug DZ. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. Good job getting Sidney Green. Yeah, the classic cards have been skewing more classic recently than kind of newer ones. The newer ones, I know some of y'all do really well on, but yeah, these have been older ones with Tyrone Corbin and Sidney Green and John Paxson. The last couple days is our classic cards. That's the old era right there. That's right. Yeah, good job, Slug DZ. Yeah, don't forget to read my comments, Lex. Where's your comments? I read those too. Go Georgia, 30 days until basketball. Yeah, I seen that. I seen that one too. I seen your comments, Mo, unless there's weird ones that are not getting there, but I read them. I read them there. All right, let's do a wrap up. Once again, Kevin Willis, not just a basketball player, a fashionista. I don't know if it's nista, fashion guy, because he went to college and he studied fashion and textiles. And he learned how to build suits, how to make suits, tailor suits. And he started that company in Atlanta with Walker, Willis and Walker. And they make big and tall suits for men that are big and tall, that have a hard time finding suits that fit them. I mean, in some ways, they just wanted to fill a need for themselves. It's like Kevin Willis wanted to look fly on the road trips with the Atlanta Hawks and other teams he played for. So he started taking it upon himself to make this clothing company. And I guess a lot of the NBA players were his clients because a lot of them were like, yeah, I like this, Kevin. Thank you for doing this because I've had a hard time finding good suits this whole time. And then we found out that, well, the wrestlers were coming to him too, like Lex Luger. Lex Luger got suits from Kevin Willis and he wore them on Nitro, which is kind of cool. Kevin Willis is the guy who's played the most minutes in the NBA that is not in the Hall of Fame. Everybody else who's played more than him has made the Hall of Fame. And well, who knows? I don't know if Kevin ever will. If he hasn't made it by now, I don't think he's going to make the Hall of Fame. I don't think he will. Yeah. Yeah. Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan? No, it's not Tim Duncan. It's Kevin Willis. Kevin Willis is who we're talking about. And Sidney Green was the classic card of the day. Unfortunately, Kevin Willis, of course, a champion with Tim Duncan on the 2003 Spurs team. He did win a championship that year, which is awesome. I'm glad Kevin won a championship in his career. All right, that's it, I guess. Straight goods on Canadian goods. Get Cullen beans, y'all. Get the Cullen beans. Tomorrow, Sunday special report, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time on this channel. I hope you'll join me. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Join the channel. If you join the channel, you get access to the news breaking reporting of Monique Lawrence and Trevor Jones and all the other Raptor freaks that are sharing the information constantly. If you want to know when Scotty Barnes is jumping on Twitch, well, Isaac Campbell's got your back. And Kaz, too. There's other people. They're all kind of coming in and saying, hey, Scotty's on Twitch. Scotty's on Twitch. They'll raise alarm. So if you want to watch Scotty on Twitch and know that it's happening at a moment's notice, well, we'll help you be on that. That's right. W Stream, W Community. Yes. And Kaz, I would say good luck, but you don't need it. You do not need it. I'm just going to keep trying my best. And, well, we'll just see how the margin of victory for you is at the end, possibly. I don't know. Maybe I can make the ultimate comeback. I don't know. I don't think it's likely. Either way, guys, have a great Saturday. Happy birthday, Kevin Willis. We love you. Raptors fans love you still. We have not forgotten about you. You're awesome, man. That's right. W to the bass man. That's right. W to the bass man for sure. The bass man, the bass man. Is he a bass man today or a bass man? Well, what's he holding? A fishing rod or a guitar? That's what we got to find out. All right, y'all. Have a great Saturday. I'll see you all. W Stream, W Vibes. Thank you, Mo. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. I will. I promise. Strong forever. Let's go, Raptors. Let's go, Raptors. Hi, I'm not.